Digimon cons of the past have all had their strong points and their weak points, and while I could say this last one probably could have been a little bit more condensed, the amount of content shown did not disappoint. We got details on the latest Digimon story game, Time Stranger, the official announcement that we are finally getting an app for the Digimon card game, the reveal of a new animated series coming later this year, and even a nice short animation about the Digimon Adventure cast. But those aren't the things for me to talk about. I'm here for the sweet handheld electronics, and we have two different devices to go over today. I'm pretty excited for them, and of course, why wouldn't I be? Bandai put together a 3-hour ad for us to watch so that we would be persuaded to purchase their products. Such tactics work on me, and maybe they work on you too, so now you're wondering how to get your hands on these shiny gadgets. Well, good news, because once again, Zen and TCG is here to make it easier for you to pre-order these devices. Both the Digital Monster Color Godzilla 70th Edition and the D-3 25th Color Evolution are all up on zenandtcg.com right now, and you can get a discount if you purchase multiple devices of each type. Not only that, but they are taking orders for a restock of their clear digital monster case, compatible with all DM20, DMX, and Digital Monster Color devices, as well as a new case specifically for the D3 25th Color Evolution. While you're there, don't forget to check out their other Digimon and Tamagotchi merch and their exclusive stickers. Thank you Zen and TCG for sponsoring this video. So the first device we're going to be talking about today is the Digital Monster Color Godzilla 70th version. This is another collaboration similar to the Monster Hunter that just released back in February. Of course, some of you still don't have it yet because those orders were very bloated. A lot of people wanted that one and sold out those Monster Hunter pre-orders real quick, so some of you are on secondary and tertiary is the word, I think, right? For 3. You're on those pre-orders to be able to get them, so still some time coming. So I don't know if the Godzilla one's going to be as popular, but so far it's looking real good. I didn't not like the Monster Hunter one, but it was pretty basic, let's say, as far as a device goes. I didn't really offer too much more than the original Digital Monster Color did, and while I can't say that this one will offer much more either necessarily, it does look to have a few things that are sticking out to me already. So important things to note, this is something that is, again, pre-order only. This is releasing in August. Pre-orders are going on right now. They're going to last for a month on Premium Bandai Japan, and you can't order directly from Premium Bandai Japan if you're not in Japan, so you'd have to use a proxy or something else to be able to import those. There's various import stores you can use. This might show up on Premium Bandai US as well. That's never a guarantee, just as a heads up. But these are not going to be localized products. They are the same product no matter what. They are all going to be in Japanese, just as a heads up. There's only a limited amount of Japanese, so it's not like you have to do a whole lot of reading to get around, but that is something that will be here. There's not going to be an English version of this. This isn't going to be something that's just readily available at your store, unless you have a really cool import store where you live, which some of you do, I know, but they're all imports. That's what they all are. So just like if you go in a big bad toy store and you can buy some cool Japanese Zoids, like certain people do that I know, then you could do stores like that would be the type that may be able to stock this in. So just keep an eye out that way, but keep in mind that once pre-orders are gone and done with, and those stores have put in their reservations, there's not going to be any more of these. They're not going to be doing this as a normal retail release. That's how Premium Bandai works. It's frustrating, but it's how they do V-Pets, and it's what we work with. So that all being said and out of the way, let's talk about the device itself. So these are fully art-wrapped devices, just like we saw with the Monster Hunter devices and several other special edition of the Digital Monster version 20th. And if we come down here, we can take a closer look at these. So we've got 2 different color variations, and the gameplay on both of these colors is exactly the same. So whichever one you get doesn't matter. They have the same Digimon and monsters on them. So just get whichever one you think looks cooler. As you can see, they are both the same design, just that one is in color and one is in black and white, but also still has color. So they are apparently called the Wargreymon G-Erosion Mode and Wargreymon G-Erosion Mode Classic colors. So not that creative as far as naming differences go, but either way, it's white or black. Which one do you like? Do you like the one that's more white, or do you like the one with the more black and a little bit more color pop? Personally, definitely the black one for me. I usually go with those types of colors for the devices. I go with darker ones or cooler ones in general. That's always been my choice preference. So if we look further down here, we can see what it looks like from every angle. Looks beautiful. Kenji Watanabe once again has contributed the art to this, and he always does a fantastic job. So absolutely great looking device. Love it. Definitely some good designs going on here. White one, again, even though it's not the one I would pick first, still very good looking. It has a really cool comic book style aesthetic, which honestly looks really great. So lots of things to love about that. So then we come to the monsters and Digimon included on this, and there are, in fact, monsters and Digimon included. It's not just monsters like it was on the Monster Hunter device, except for those 2 little collaboration ones. This has a mixture of both monsters and Digimon on it. So we've got the Godzilla monsters on here, and I have done my best to research these, and I'm going to give you a warning. I am not in the Godzilla fandom, so I don't know these guys. I don't not like Godzilla. I've just never been, someone who pursues it, and this is going to all sound familiar because I wasn't super into Monster Hunter either. I probably like Godzilla more than I like Monster Hunter. I've seen more. I've interacted with the franchise more, that's for certain. But yeah, so I don't know too much, but I was able to look on a few websites to figure out a few of these names and posted a few times to Discord, and people on there were able to help me out get the best idea we could of who these guys are. So if some of these names are incorrect, I apologize. This is the best guess we have at the moment as to who these are until we have more official in writing of which each monster is. So starting at the top row there, first up, we're assuming that that's based on the 1954 Godzilla, the original one. So yeah, looks nice. After that, we have Godzilla from 1984, at least the one that debuted in there. When talking about the different eras of Godzilla, I'm just going to use the introductory year for describing that. Following that, we have Godzillasaurus, and then Baby Godzilla and Little Godzilla, apparently two different types of young Godzillas, as well as Godzilla Jr., who looks a little bit older, and then Burning Godzilla and Godzilla 99 from 1999. So those are the main Godzillas, I guess, as why they're in the top row as opposed to the ones below it. And as for what evolutionary stages they are, and that's anyone's guess, I would assume that the two little young ones in the middle are child stages, especially because of something else we'll see here. The rest are, or the ones on the left side are probably mostly adults, and the ones on the right side, barring Junior, Burning Godzilla is almost certainly a perfect stage. I don't know about the Godzilla 99 over there, if it's separated from the others for a reason. Or, again, some of these guesses might be incorrect. It's hard to say. But going into the next row, we see some non-Godzillas. So we have Biollante, we have King Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah, Mothra, which I know Mothra. That one's easy. That's on a Tamagotchi, so I know Mothra. We have Mecha Godzilla, Rodan, and apparently Fire Rodan. I'm told that they are the same guy and just different points in the same movie, so neat. And then below that, we have Space Godzilla, Destoroyah, Kiryu, Gigan, and then this one here. Oh my gosh, this one here. This opened up a whole can of worms because someone revealed to me that with those hooked arms and that little blue kind of frill going on the back there, this is not just any Godzilla. This is the Godzilla from the 1998 movie, as in the American one, as in the one where Godzilla evolves from an iguana, and they just call him Zilla because he was not a god, apparently. And yeah, so I definitely saw that movie in theaters, by the way. I assume kid me probably loved it because why wouldn't have I loved movies like that when I was a kid? But looking back, it certainly was what it was. And we'll get more into why that's very special here in just a moment. But below that, we have the Digimon. And so we're starting off with baby forms from the original version 1. So we have Bodemon and Koromon. Unlike the Monster Hunter where it was from eggs, these Godzilla monsters are going to be intertwined in a normal Digimon evolution pattern, it looks like. So we then have Agumon and Monodramon. So Agumon we already knew about, that was going to be in here. Monodramon's a surprise, but very fitting. Obviously, Monodramon is a classic Dragon Digimon. Even if its sprite is ugly as heck, it is still a good pick for this device. And then we have Greymon. We have Raremon, which that's also very interesting to see, and we'll talk about why here again in a moment. And then we have Metal Greymon Vaccine and War Greymon to round that out. So the thing I want to bring up here, and that a lot of you know already, most of you should know this is kind of like the Doki Doki Panic tidbit about Digimon history, but in the version 5 of the Digital Monster, the original Digital Monster that released in 1998, we had all the monsters in there appeared to be tributes to Godzilla monsters. And for a while, it was rumored that that was from a failed Godzilla pet, and those were just rumors, but we actually got confirmation of that this past year to know that, no, that wasn't just a rumor, that is actually what happened. Bandai originally was going to collaborate, they said with a famous kaiju brand, but it's all but confirmed at this point. But that collaboration fell through, and so when it fell through, they repurposed the sprites they had made for that Godzilla collaboration into the roster of the version 5. And that alone was already really, really cool to know. And here we see a few of these sprites, and I'll show you a comparison here in a minute. But one thing that's really, really interesting to me about this is I mentioned a bit ago about how that last monster in the Godzilla section there, that's Godzilla from the 1998 movie. The version 5 released in 1998. And so it seems very likely to me that this was intended to be a tie-in product for that movie for whatever reason. Specifically for, to coincide with the release of it. And I'm wondering, did they make that movie and then everyone saw like how terrible it was and they were like, never mind, we're not doing this anymore? Like, is that what actually happened? That's pure speculation, but I'm really curious now because that's a really funny coincidence, and I could certainly see that being more than just a coincidence. So yeah, that's neat. Speculate on that if you want to, but like I was saying, the original version 5, those monsters were based on Godzilla creatures, right? So if I go back over to the, let's just switch over to this over here, and we can see that we've got the listing of the sprites here. I put together just a quick little comparison so you can see exactly what they look like. These are all the adults and perfect stages from that original version 5. As far as I can tell, Zurumon, Pagumon, Gazimon, and Gizamon don't really have any connection. They were probably created after the collaboration fell through, just to have baby and child stages. But the rest of them all have some kind of connection to Godzilla. So we see first up here on the left, and the top row is the digital monster color sprites, middle row is the original sprites, bottom row is these new Godzilla sprites for the 70th edition. So left side we see that Godzilla itself repurposed into Dark Tyrannomon. We then have Cyclomon, who seems to be repurposed from Gigan. That's what we've always assumed. The new Gigan sprite is pretty different, so it's hard to say that as being like a strict, definite reference anymore at this point, but I don't see anyone else who it could be, so we're sticking with Gigan on that one. Digimon is very obviously Destoroyah. That's not even... the funny thing about so many of these is that they tried their best to color them for the digital monster color originally, the Digimon sprites, but you could still tell that they look nothing like their artwork, because the artwork was created based on these sprites, but they couldn't just make them look like the sprites because the sprites were Godzilla monsters, and that would be copyright infringement. So they still kept the sprites the same way, but yeah, obviously, like some of these had better transitions into Digimon than others. So yeah, Digimon does not have big weird ears. It's got pretty normal looking ears, but yeah, in the sprite form, it does have those. So then to the right, Tuskmon's another weird one, because those spikes coming out of Space Godzilla definitely do not look the same as the spikes or the tusks that come out of Tuskmon, but there you go, that's what it looks like. Mothra and Flymon, not too many differences there between what they were originally looking like. Same with Deltamon and King Ghidorah. Deltamon lost some of those wings there, but otherwise, the two of them, they've got a lot of similarities, other than Deltamon and the art using those using those heads as arms, not necessarily as just additional heads. And then we come to Raremon. I said this was interesting because Raremon is the only version 5 monster that has been explicitly shown so far. Might be the only one that appears, but Hedorah wasn't included. And this is very, very obviously Hedorah in the sprite there. If you've ever seen Hedorah, it looks just like that. Raremon is not that tall. And yeah, I don't know why Hedorah wasn't included and why they chose to put Raremon in there, but neat either way. We've only got 2 unknown monsters on this device out of the 34 that are included, so it's unlikely that we'll have that slot filled in by something other than like a really cool surprise. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see that they chose not to add Hedorah into the mix on this one. And then we have Metal Tyrannomon, which the funny thing about Metal Tyrannomon is it's not based on anything metal at all. It's based on Burning Godzilla, and there it is. There's Burning Godzilla. Looks just like him. Nanomon, similarly to Raremon, did not get any reference on this new device. We have often passed around that it might be based on the Oxygen Destroyer, which I think is that from the original Godzilla movie? Again, not super into Godzilla, so I don't know a lot of these things, but I think it was like a bomb or something. So that's what a lot of people assume Nanomon's based on, but yeah, can't say for sure, and he may not have any reference in this new one whatsoever. So lastly there we have X Tyrannomon, which this was always a tough one to place, and a lot of people... So one of my first assumptions, based on what other people were saying back then, was that this is based on like the early Godzilla. That this was the idea of a guy being in a suit and that's kind of like hokey looking. But we were never quite sure, and some of the other people had other ideas, but with this reveal, it's become so very clear. You can see right below that sprite is very much definitely the sprite that was used for X Tyrannomon, but it's been repurposed for the 1998 Zilla Godzilla. So yeah, X Tyrannomon being a imitator of Tyrannomon really fits now, that comparison, and it makes a lot of sense why they went that way, because they were making fun of the American movie all along. They made X Tyrannomon look like a big silly goof because that's how they viewed Zilla in the 1998 movie. So freaking hilarious, absolutely love that, and it's just so great to be able to see that come full circle at this point. So, like, these random details we didn't think we'd ever know. So yeah, really cool to see this. It's a really fun a closure on that original saga. So going back to the device itself, if we come down, we can see that there are 4 additional Digimon created for this that are all based on something called G erosion, is what they're saying, except for Mugendramon, who's based on something else entirely. But I guess this is based on the concept of G cells, which may be something in Godzilla. Again, don't know for sure. But we have Metal Greymon, G erosion mode, who is basically half Godzilla, half Metal Greymon, and then same for Skull Greymon there. It's got like the fins and everything going on now, and it's less of its normal spikes and more just like the bones of a Godzilla, but still with the, what's that thing called? The something bird, Oblivion Bird, I believe is its missile name, if I recall correctly. And then we have Mugendramon MFS3 or Type 3, which is based on that Mechagodzilla, I guess. I don't really know if there's like any particular major influence of the design itself, other than it just being kind of more Godzilla-esque, but yeah, either way, looking good. And then lastly, we have War Greymon G erosion mode as well. Similar idea to the Metal Greymon, just fusing it up with the Godzilla, and there you go. So pretty cool looking designs. Nice to see we got 4 of them this time instead of just the 2 from the Monster Hunter. So happy to see that. And yeah, how these will fit in with the rest of them, we'll see. We know that the monsters will evolve all from each other, but the exact paths and levels for each one, it's hard to say. So as far as content on the device and how this goes, so this will be mostly the same as the Digital Monster Color as far as functionality goes, but there are new things. So first and foremost, we see right away cut-ins are back. So at the start of battle, a little quick cut-in of the monster's face is going to appear on the screen, just like it did on the Digital Monster X and Digimon Pendulum Z devices. So very happy to see that come back, and I can see why they did, because unlike Monster Hunter, they went with the 16x16 sprites for this one, and they still wanted a way to give a little bit of extra detail so you can really tell which monsters they were. So this is a great way to do that. Love that. I'm a big fan of 16x16 sprites. Again, I think the Monster Hunter devices used higher res sprites well, but I still am a sucker for the smaller resolution ones. So looking great, love that. Training, I'm actually very confused on how this works, because we see in these GIFs here that there are 2 different methods for doing the training here. The first one's actually really neat. I like this a lot because it looks like you're just choosing up or down based on what the incoming object is. What this thing is, I don't know what it is. It's the G something or the other. You can see in the Japanese there. It's like some anti-Godzilla weapon. But yeah, you choose up or down and attack it, which is neat. And then the other training, you're defeating this thing called Mogera, I guess. It's like a thing created by the humans to stop Godzilla, and it looks like you're charging up a meter to be able to do it. There's probably by rapidly tapping the button, and then if you are successful, you knock it over. And the thing I don't get, though, is whether or not these are the same training or 2 different trainings. Like, will we get to choose 2 different method trainings, or like, do you do one and then go to the other? It's like part of the same thing, because that little arrow there implies that it's like part of the same thing. So if it is like a 2-stage training, then that's pretty neat, because we haven't seen that really before either, to have like 2 different steps of it. And like I said, we certainly have never seen a little live up-down shooting game, which is really, really neat. I guess if you count the D terminal, we had it on the D terminal, but I don't know if that really counts for this sort of thing. But either way, training looks super interesting. Nice to see them do something unique like that instead of just straight up repurposing one of the other training types. So very cool. We then have the evolution. So we see Koromon can evolve into the, what is this? That baby or little baby Godzilla or Agumon. So we know that the lines are going to be intermingled at least a little bit. Don't know how much. I hope they're not entirely sequestered off from each other on the, like they were on the Monster Hunter devices. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, they're evolving into each other at this point, and evolution is based on normal factors as usual, but then there's also something called G-cell activity, which is affected by battle and training. And what that means is really anyone's guess at this point. Will it be something that replaces concepts like effort? Maybe, but hard to say for sure. And again, it's hard to say whether or not each monster is an adult or perfect as far as the other available monsters. Some of them are very obviously child stage, but the adults, perfects, and ultimates as well. Hard to say which ones each one will be. You'll also notice the background changing that GIF. That's not because they're selecting it like you do on other Digital Monster Color devices, but the background is changing due to the cell activity, the G-cell activity. So that's also a really neat concept. I'm very interested to learn more about that, but they don't say too much about it right now. And then as far as compatibility goes, this is compatible with every other device in the Color series. So Digital Monster Color, Digimon Pendulum Color, Digivice Color, D3 Color, you're going to be able to battle against any of them because they're just all compatible. And then standard features return. This is rechargeable via USB-C. This has a cold mode for when you want to pause what you're doing with your monster for the time being, and this has backup so that you can have one monster put into backup to start raising another one, and if you go to backup again, then you get that original one back. So you can have up to one Digimon being raised, one Digimon in backup at a time, or monster, I should say. It's hard to pick which term to use, Digimon or monster, because there's both on this device. There's a bunch of both. It's not like Monster Hunter where it's just monsters. It's a mixture, which again is really, really cool. So that's about it as far as this device goes. So again, it's up on Premium Bandai Japan right now, 7,700 yen, and releasing in August. Again, if you don't want to use Premium Bandai Japan, there are plenty of other options, as I talked about Zen in the beginning of this video, so that's a perfectly good option you can go with right there. So that's about it to say about it at the moment. We'll probably see a Mon memo at some point to talk about some more details on it. Hope we do at least. We didn't really see a lot about the Monster Hunter device before its release, but at least on this one, we're seeing what most of the monsters are ahead of time, unlike the Monster Hunter where we only knew 8 of them, which was, yeah, sure, that was something. So yeah, let's move on to the next device here. So going right into the D-3 25th Color Evolution. So this is, of course, the sequel to the Digivice 25th Color Evolution that released last year, and not only released, but sold out in a week and was super popular. So I don't think anyone doubted that we would see this year. Does that mean we'll see a Tamers one next year? Maybe. Would we see the D-Arc? I'm willing to bet they would if this sells well enough too, but we'll have to see. I felt like D3 was a sure thing. I don't know for sure that a D-Arc is a sure thing, not at this point at least. So, as you can see, it is based on the original toy design, not the design from the show. You can see Davis and Ken there holding the original anime versions of it, which we saw in the SCSA, if you recall that one. And then the toys themselves are based on the original toy designs. So yeah, cool to see that. We'll say that even though they're based on the original toy designs, they are not based on the gameplay of the original toys. These are very much sequels to the Digivice Color that we got last year. Same gameplay throughout it like that. As far as availability on these release in August, and again, pre-order only. Everything I said for the Godzilla device applies to these. These are not going to be localized. These are not going to be re-released when they come out. It's just going to be whatever pre-orders came in or whatever reservations that import stores put in. That's what's going to be available. There's not going to be anything else. So if you want these, you should get your orders in now using either a proxy, an import store, or any of those other options. So there are 3 colors total. We're looking at 2 right now. We'll look at the third one here because it's part of the DX set. And each of them has the exact same gameplay as one another. They just have a few cosmetic items that are the only difference. So you don't need to worry too much about getting them all to get everything, because the cosmetic items are, when I say cosmetic, I mean truly cosmetic. They do nothing other than sit on a table and you look at them. That is it. That is all they do. Don't base your purchase decision on exclusive content for these. So coming right down here. So we can see that they have, again, the same dimensions of those original toys. They look just like them. They are rechargeable via USB Type-C, as all devices in the Color series are. And yeah, so looking good. If we come down to here, then we will see a little bit about the content of the device. So first up, we have the cast. All of the main 5 casts are going to be selectable from the start when you first turn on the device. Ken, of course, if you've watched the show, you know that he's not exactly a friend at the beginning, so you have to get to the point where you can unlock him, similar to how we had to unlock Hikari on the Digivice Color. So we can see that they've got a lot of fancy animations going on in this for going through the digital gate and all that. So they've put a lot of love into doing that. And as far as the number of Digimon involved here, there are 120 different Digimon. Now, that's a good amount, but here's the thing that you really need to keep in mind is that means there is not enough room to have extra armor evolutions. And just like the Digivice Color, we should only expect to see Digimon that actually appeared in the show itself, not anything that appeared in the D3. So, don't expect Lampmon to suddenly make a comeback just because he was a major part of the original D3. We're going to probably only see Digimon that actually showed up on screen either in the show, in the first Digimon Adventure 02 movie, or the second Digimon Adventure 02 movie. So just want to make sure temper expectations there. We're not going to be seeing the extra armors. We are almost certainly not going to see the other Ultimate stages apart from Imperial Dramon and maybe Seraphimon and Holy Dramon. But as far as Vikemon, Grand Kuagamon, and Valkyriemon, there's almost a 0% chance that we'll see any of those. So there's going to be, of course, music and sounds and everything on the device from the show. So you'll be able to see little slideshows versions of different scenes, such as the ending scene that we see here, and all that's accompanied by voice actors, recorded lines, and music directly coming out of the show. As far as gameplay goes, again, very much similar to the original Digivice Color. It's going to be that you're traveling to different locations and battling enemies at the end of each area, or having simple interactions with other characters. I wouldn't expect too many surprises on that end, and once you get into those battles, it's a matter of either pressing a button fast enough, choosing a specific order of buttons as shown on screen, or shaking the device to initiate those battles. So those are the different methods involved. Again, same as a Digivice Color. And then during battle, as you can see in these lovely animations that we have here, you have the ability to evolve into higher forms. This is not a virtual pet, so you're not evolving as they grow. You just choose an evolution during battle and evolve into it for the duration of that battle to temporarily power up. So we have armor evolutions involved this time around, in addition to Jawgrass evolutions, and then of course evolving into Ultimate for Imperial Digimon there. So lots of good content there. And then something new is that I mentioned armor evolutions. So in the original D3 toys, you did have to find pieces of the Digimentals in order to armor evolve, and that is the case here as well. So you first do these training sessions like we see Vmon doing up there, and in these training sessions you gain search points, and with your search points you then have the ability to search for Digimentals. So you go to the search function, a radar comes up, and you can either find one of the Digimental pieces, or you can find other items as well for use in your camps. So that is what is happening there. Once you have all 3 pieces of a Digimental, it becomes available to use by its appropriate Digimon in battle. Again, do not expect that the other Digimon armor forms will appear, so I can't use the Egg of Reliability on Wormmon in order for it to evolve into Arkellamon. I will only be able to use it with Armadimon to become Submarimon. So just want to temper those expectations. And then if you weren't sure, yes, Imperial Digimon showing up in this. Like I said, Digimon from the movies, both the 3rd and 4th Digimon movies will make an appearance in these devices. We then see a little brief thing here about the camping feature, which is just simple little animations. That's all it is. You either see 2 Digimon sitting at a table looking at the item that you put on the table. It does nothing else. Again, it's just cosmetic. And then we can have them kicking a ball around. In the Digivice Color, I think there was either only a ball or a tire. Those were the only options for kicking. Hopefully they have expanded that now. And then they're sleeping, where in this case they're using the stump to sleep. You can get other sleeping items as well. It's just cute animations, nothing more than that. And then as far as interactions go, so non-battle events, you have the opportunity to meet up with other of the main cast of Digimon Adventure 02, but you can also meet up with the original cast too, who are all of course older and in middle school or whatever, and they have their original Digimon partners with them. So you'll encounter them in different events, and you'll be able to team up with them too. They'll walk alongside you, just like they feature in the Digivice Color, where when you meet up with one of the partners using the phone booth item, they'll follow you around and assist you in the next battle. So whether or not they will evolve during battle, that remains to be seen. If they stay in their child stages or will max out to their top stage, hard to say. I wouldn't expect that we'd see any middle stages, so like their adult forms probably will not make an appearance, but yeah, there's not a lot of details on that yet. And then we also see that we'll have some non-Digimon villain characters, such as the Digimon Kaiser there, who of course is, Ken in disguise, and then Arachnamon and Mummymon's human forms, which technically aren't human, but it's just them disguised as humans. They'll make an appearance, as will Oikawa, who was the main bad human in the series, being controlled by Malomyotismon, Belial Vamdamon, whatever. I'm switching between dub and sub terms here, so forgive me if I can't keep that straight. And then we've also got Wallace is going to appear in this, as he was in the 3rd Digimon movie. So he'll be with Terriermon, and as you can see, they will have the Digimental of Fate, meaning Terriermon will be able to become Rapidmon. I would assume it could also become Galgamon, but not sure. And I would also expect to see Wendamon and Tyramon and Cherubimon as enemies to fight within the device too. And we should of course also expect Armageddon from the 4th movie in addition to that. So as far as compatibility goes, once again, this is compatible with all devices in the Color series, including the Digivice Color and Digital Monster Color and Digimon Pendulum Color. So battle away with whatever you want. And like I said, each device has exclusive camping items, purely cosmetic. So whichever device you get a D3 of that same color, and then you also get a headgear for whichever guy you chose. So you can either get Daisuke's goggles or Ken's Digimon Kaiser glasses to put on the table. So this version of the device is 11,000 yen. again releasing in July and available for pre-order only. But there is not only this version, so if we go on to the next page here, then we have the Digimon color here. This is the 25th Color Evolution Deluxe DX, so this does mean it has some additional items that will come along with it, not just within the device, but I mean outside the device as well. So gameplay-wise, perfectly identical, does everything the others do, no difference in how it will function. But this, of course, is the Jagras activated version of Daisuke and Ken's Digivices. So once XVmon and Stingmon Jagras together into Digimon, this is what their D3s look like. So we're going to skip past most of the information because it should be basically identical, and we'll come straight down to the good stuff. So first of all is the pack-ins. So as far as pack-ins go, this one I'm particularly excited about because this is really, really cute. We will get 10 of the Digimentals. So basically every Digimental except Kindness, which did not appear in the show, of course, will not appear on this device either, unless Bandai proves me wrong, but I don't expect them to. So these are really small, between 20 and 30 millimeters for the most part. Some of them are a little bit taller, like Fate there, skyrockets all the way up to 38 millimeters, but either way, just cute little Digimental figures. Love this a lot more than the crests. The crests were neat, but they didn't feel that great. These would make great display pieces overall, and they're just fun little things. So very excited to see that. You may not be considering the Digimon version for the color alone, but you may consider it just because you want this. And then in addition to that, there's also the DX Anniversary Art Book, which is shaped like the D terminal with an incorrect aspect ratio, but shaped like it nonetheless. So no actual D terminal, sorry, but this will at least let you see the different sprites used on the device, as you can see here. So that's the same thing we got for the Digivice color. Pretty obvious to expect it here too. And then as far as the in-game items go, so again, the D3 of that color, which is the Digimon color here. And we also have the Crest of Kindness that Ken got after he stopped being the Digimon Kaiser and that formed the Digimental of Miracles, I think. It's been a while since I've watched 02. And then we have this chocolate egg, which, believe it or not, that actually is a reference to something that is in later episodes of the series when they do that transition to commercials and they have the little jingle play. This is a chocolate egg appears that lands on Vmon, and he eats it, which allows him to evolve into every other Digimon. That's canon, look it up. So there you go. So that's pretty much everything there is to say about that one. And of course, with pack-in items comes a heftier price of quite a bit heftier, actually. So 5,500 yen more than the other version, so 16,500 yen, releasing at the same time. So if this is something that you would like to get the pack-ins for, great. But if you don't care about the pack-ins, then maybe stick with one of the cheaper versions unless you really, really like this color. So that is about everything to say about the D3 25th Color Evolution, and that brings us to about everything we need to say about Digimon Con. Again, there was a lot of other cool stuff. I definitely recommend checking out other videos, not my own, of course, but other videos about the anime, which was Beat Break? Beat Break. I don't remember. It's purple. The purple anime. Time Stranger, which releases sometime this year, which is super exciting to see. They announced there's going to be 450 Digimon in that, which is a huge amount for a Digimon game. Cyber Sleuth had less than 400 for sure. I don't remember the exact number it said, but yeah, there's going to be a bunch in there. Kamemon is going to be in it, and I am actually excited. I'm actually excited for a Digimon video game. Can you believe it? If you know me, that doesn't happen very often, but Kamemon's going to be in it, and that's super thrilling for me. I freaking love that little guy. He's my favorite child stage. So obviously I like turtles a lot, so why wouldn't I like Kamemon? And then the card game app I'm really excited for. I play the freaking Pokemon TCG Pocket like every day, you know, just collecting cards and doing a couple battles here or there. So I like the Digimon card game, but I don't play it in real life very much, and I would much prefer to be able to play it digitally. So very excited about that. And then, yeah, the animation for the Digimon Adventure cast was pretty cute. Liked it okay. A little short for as much hype as they gave it, but you know what? I don't think it needed to be anything long either. So, but yeah, that was Digimon Con. So as far as what else we're expecting to see this year, you've been fed enough. I'm going to say that right now. There's enough. There's nothing to be anything else this year. There's plenty. But I would say that we'll probably see what other things that might be coming as far as electronics go towards the end of this year. We're not going to see any non-crossover V-Pets. That's certainly not. We would have known about them by now if we would. So don't be holding out for any of that. It's unfortunate, of course, but it's also expected. The Monster Hunter device was wildly successful. I expect not only this Godzilla one, obviously, we knew that something else would be coming, but the next device they do I'm willing to put money down to say that it will be a crossover device too. So we might not see a brand spanking new Digimon V-Pet for a while, which is a bummer, but we're at least getting the 25th Color Evolution series for Digivices, and they might continue that next year, and we'll probably see another crossover, possibly could be announced even towards the end of this year. So that's going to do it for now. Make sure to head over to the Discord server if you want to keep up to date on news like this. We played Bingo. If you missed it, I'm very sorry. It was a ton of fun, even if we had to call out some numbers at the end because some very usually guaranteed things didn't get done during the Digimon Con. Like, they didn't even play Butterfly. Can you believe that? Butterfly didn't make an appearance at a Digimon Con. And that was one of the squares that didn't get marked off. So either way, ton of fun. So head over there if you want to chat about any of these things or keep up to date on Digimon news. And if you're interested in buying these products, again, Zenna TCG is a sponsor of this video. They are able to hook you up with getting any of these. So that's going to do it for now. So until next time, bye.